Christine Atkins from Royal Ahold. That's a Netherlands-based retailing group with annual revenues of over 30 billion euros. And she coordinates the IT agenda with a budget of 400 million euros. So, wow. Here's this. Welcome.
Dankjewel. Let's see, let's get a little bit. Oops. Okay, stop right there. If I pushed it an extra time, don't go forward. Let's start with a little bit of background. Of course, you've already given a little bit of the background. We're a 30 billion euro global grocery retailer based in Amsterdam. We operate in 27 states in the US, including the Stop & Shop brand and Giant, and we're in 11 countries across Europe. We also own Peapod, which I'm proud to say is the largest internet online grocer in the US. Now, we started working with Google about 2 years ago, probably for the same reason many of you may be in this room, which is it's kind of boring, but we had a legacy email platform that we needed to replace. We signed our contract in September of 2010, and I'm very proud to say we completed our rollout of 55,000 users last week. So great timing. Now, I think it's a true statement that large multinational companies generally are operating multiple email systems and maybe even on multiple technology platforms. Show of hand, how many of that would be true? Is that it? Only one? Well. So anyway, and when you get ready to go replace these platforms, you have to work with all of the local IT departments. And these local IT departments have their own strategies, their own priorities, their own way of doing things, and their own architecture. And so when you get into these discussions, you spend a lot of time on technical stuff like data centers and architecture and bandwidth and latency. And none of that really brings any value to your business. And that's exactly where Ahold found itself. But when we considered the cloud and we chose Google as our new email platform, suddenly all of that discussion could stop. We didn't have to have the technical discussions anymore. And so what I'm here to tell you is the cloud and email in the cloud and collaboration tools in the cloud are a game changer, and they really, really liberate IT. Now, I'm not going to tell you that this was easy, because it wasn't. You know, this was about 2 years ago, and the cloud was only kind of coming into its own as a platform for IT services. And Google was actually really perceived as more of a consumer tool. So one thing that's important if you're considering this type of environment is you need to consider the cultural shift that you need to make in your company. So this starts with the CEO, the legal department, internal audit, information security, everyone. Maybe the easiest discussion was with the CFO, because we could deliver a business case that showed that we were going to save 75% over our legacy environment when we went to Google Apps. So you have to bring all of these people along and make sure they understand it's a good decision for the company. But maybe the hardest cultural shift is for us in IT, because we've spent years working really hard to control everything, because that was the only way for us to manage our diverse technology portfolio. And this thing called the cloud makes us feel like we've lost control. And it takes a while to wrap your mind around something like continuous improvement, because we're used to spending a lot of time and effort on complex technology upgrades. But the one group that we didn't have any trouble convincing was our user population. You've heard from other speakers. The new employees coming into our company are a generation that grew up with technology, and they have high expectations on what technology is going to do for them. And even us old people, like me, we're used to getting a lot of services over the internet. So what I'm trying to say here is moving our email to the cloud wasn't really a big deal for the user population. In fact, they wondered why we didn't do it sooner. So I think IT's got some catching up to do with the technology that people are used to using at home. Now, as I said earlier, we just completed our rollout. We just rolled out the stores in the Czech Republic. 55,000 users. It took us about a year to do our rollout, and not because of Google Apps. We could have actually set that up overnight. But what we spent the time doing was to work on change management and to integrate with our identity management systems so we could do security administration and support our complex provisioning processes. We also had to fit this into the priorities of the local IT teams, who had their own priorities, schedules, and projects. So it stretched it out a bit longer, and it took us about a year. But I have something to share with you. This was one of the easiest migrations I've ever done in my whole IT career. How many projects do you have that come in on budget, on schedule, and with happy users? Let me give you an example. 2 weeks ago, we rolled out to our US stores 17,000 users in one day. And we did a lot of preparation to be ready to take the support calls. We got 27 support calls. 27 support calls for 17,000 users. Now, the significance of that number is not that it's a small number. Rather, the significance is it was less than we would get in a normal day for our legacy platform. So we think that's pretty amazing. Now, obviously, it's not just about migrating a legacy email environment. There's much more than the technology. So one of the things is we think that going to the cloud with email is a good way to learn about the cloud. So we learned quite a bit. We integrated our identity management system. We learned about what the guys in internal audit were expecting. And we're getting experience with this notion of continuous improvement and what that means in a corporation. But more importantly, we've also, with this new email platform, gotten this rich collaboration platform. And we're just beginning to scratch the surface. Just the other day, I was having a discussion between some folks in the Netherlands and in the US. And just similar to the presentations we've seen, we pulled up a spreadsheet, a Google spreadsheet. We used it as a foundation for the discussion. We could talk about it. We could update it real time. And it really, really worked well. And that's a simple example. Something like video chat is really going to help us when we're talking to somebody 6 time zones away. In addition, our company is in the process of developing and rolling out a new business strategy. And I'm really excited about what these collaboration tools can do to bring to that important business initiative. So a few final thoughts. First of all, you've got to recognize that it's a cultural shift within your company, and you need to bring everybody along, from the CEO to the legal department to information security, and particularly IT. Secondly, it's a new type of migration. Suddenly, we don't have to spend time on the technology. We can focus on bringing business value to our users. And finally, Google Apps is helping us deliver on the promise that we've all been seeking, that of a strong collaboration platform that helps our company come together and work together. Thank you.